Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm out here in my super hot garage late at night. And I wanted to come to you with some information that I discovered about the Sig M17X. Now, between doing my day job today, I was able to edit the range footage and come up with my little bullet point script for this pistol, and I was able to film the garage portion, put it all together into a video. And I know that my videos are not everybody's cup of tea, okay? I know they're kind of long, and they're done more from the perspective of somebody that's a geek when it comes to like the mechanics of guns and the minutia of firearms. I know that so many people, and the one reason my channel will never be big, my main channel, okay? And it means a lot to me when people say, oh, your channel should be way bigger than what it is. It never will be, okay? Because the landscape of firearms content creators and media and videos is geared towards the lowest common denominator. And I don't mean that in a mean way, because I think when a lot of people dive into firearms videos, they want to be entertained. And so they're going to gravitate towards things that are entertainment disguised as education. A lot of people think they know a lot about guns, and they actually don't. They know the entertainment part about guns. That they know the little snippet here and there that they saw in some video, and then they watch the guy that told them this little snippet, and they watch him like go out and like torture test a gun. You know, you put it through mud and sand, you run it over with a car, and then you do a heat test with it, you shoot it full auto, all that kind of stuff. And they just want to see pumpkins get blown up and so forth, or tannerite or whatever. This is what they want to see. They just want to see the entertainment part of it. And their attention spans are about this short. And my videos are not geared towards that. I always say that I make content that I would want to watch. And I'm a dork, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, and I like the small stuff, the mechanical stuff about guns. And so that's the content that I create. And in the process of creating this content, sometimes I will discover things, and people will criticize my videos that I get too into the weeds. I get too into the small stuff, and it bogs the videos down, or it makes it boring, or I point out things that are irrelevant or no one else complains about. But I take pride in that, because when people tell me, when they watch one of my videos and say, you're the only gun reviewer that complains about this. Well, good, because it means I took the time and found something, and I told you what I didn't like. You could still like it or not care. But I took the extra time. I'm just not giving you this glossed over feeling about the gun. And I had a similar experience today when I was filming the range report for this gun. So I edited all the footage, created the bullet point script, and I was out here in the garage. And now that I have the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge that Craig gave to the channel, I always use it in every range report. And so I like to show close-ups of the trigger, how it operates, the reset, the take-up, anything I discover about it. And I mentioned in last night's video that I have never shot a P320 with a good trigger. Like, they all seem weak, they all seem squishy. There's just not a good trigger in a P320. Now, there are some that are better than others, and I will admit that. They're not all the same. But some of them are absolutely terrible. And the one that's in this gun, I think, is terrible. The take-up is squishy. You reach a point where there's a wall, and you think, oh, it's going to break. It doesn't break. You pull it back further, it still doesn't break, and it's not predictable. I find it to not be a good trigger. Now, the gun shoots great, very accurate, but I have to work to overcome my issues with the trigger. And so I was out here filming, and I was doing the close-ups of the trigger, and I noticed something that I never noticed before. And I had to go get my other SIGs out of the safe, Sig P320s out of the safe, to see if they did it. And lo and behold, they all do it to some extent, some less than others, but this one has the biggest problem when it comes to the frame to slide fit when you pull the trigger. And let me show you what I'm saying. It does not matter if the magazine is in the gun or not. I did test this, and when I show you this problem, you're going to ask, what happens if you insert the magazine? It does exactly the same thing, because I was thinking the magazine might give us some upward pressure on the bottom of the slide and prevent this, but it does it whether or not the magazine is in it. But for safety reasons, because I know there's a bunch of safety sallies out there, I'm not going to have the magazine in the gun. But as you can see, the gun is empty and unloaded. So let me come up here to the camera, and I'm going to show you what I mean. First off, let me show you this take-up. There it is. You reach what is kind of a wall, then you pull it back more, and it's still squishy. Like, that's the wall right there. And then you have more, and it still hasn't broke, and this is unpredictable when it breaks. But when I was showing the close-ups of it, I want you to take a look at the frame, the slide fit, and this gap that's between the two. Now, in every other handgun I own, when I pull the trigger, it has nothing to do with that distance. But now, take a look at this. I'm not even going to pull the trigger where it breaks. I'm going to put it to the wall, and then I'm going to pull the trigger back and look at this. Do you see that? So when I start to pull the trigger back just before it breaks, that slide comes back and rubs up on the frame. It does the same thing in the front. Look at that. See how it raises the front of that gun? So when you pull the trigger back, it's obviously exerting pressure on the striker, I believe in a rearward fashion. It's pushing the slide down, and the front of the slide is coming up. So when you pull the trigger, the slide is moving up and down. And that might not seem like it's moving all that much, especially if you're shooting a target up close. But the barrel is locked into the slide. And so when it moves like that, your barrel might be moving, what, half a degree? But when you start to get out to 15, 20, 25 yards, and that barrel is moving up and down, you could have a dramatic difference where that projectile is going to hit the target. And this gun, I think, because it uses the X frame, has the mag well, they're trying to say, hey, it's an enhanced M17 with better accuracy. But I don't understand how they can claim that. Now, the gun did shoot well for me. I will admit that. But mechanically, this concerns me. I don't think the gun is unsafe. I don't think the gun is going to blow up or anything. I don't think it's an issue with that. I just kind of feel like this makes the gun look and feel cheap. Like it's not put together well. So let me show you this one more time, and I'm going to ask you to go get your Sig P320s out of the safe if you got them, and tell me, does your Sig do that? Look at that. That's crazy. That can't be the intent of the designers. It just can't be. But as I said, I went to my safe and pulled all of my M17s out and M18s. They all do it to some degree. In many of them, it's extremely small. Extremely small. And then some of them it's like this. But this one's the biggest. And this gun is brand new. Brand new. I shot the first shots through it. And it has maybe 150 to 200 rounds through it. So what do you guys think? Is that crazy or what? And please tell me in the comment section, does your Sig P320 do that? And when I point stuff like this out in my range reports, do you enjoy that? Or do you find it is too small of an issue, or it's silly or pedantic for me to point that out? I'm just curious, because I pride myself on finding these issues with guns that nobody else talks about. And it's because I'm fascinated by how they work, and I'm that detail oriented. So let me know what you think. And that's what I wanted to come to you tonight with. So if you made it to the end of the video, What can be the word of the day? Ooh. This one could be bad if you use it in the wrong context. Because we're dealing with the frame, the slide gap. The word of the day is gap. Okay, so keep the comments G-rated. The gap is the word of the day. If you watch to the end and tell me what do you think about the Sig P320, you don't have to tell me that the guns go off without the trigger being pulled. Okay, we're not talking about that issue. Okay, we're not dealing with those lawsuits. We're talking about this issue specifically with the slide and the frame fit. And when you pull the trigger, that slide comes down. And let me show you too. Once again, I know some people are going to say, "Oh, if the magazine's in it." See, the magazine's in it, and it still does it. So that has nothing to do with it. And so the upward force of the follower on the bottom of the slide doesn't change anything. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.